In today's story, a girl in my subscriber Zoom class leaves on her mic, and let's just say it gets really bad. Yeah, enjoy the story. So the subscriber, who we'll call Ben, because I've been calling the subscriber way too much. I haven't been giving them proper names, and yeah, Ben is kind of a name I use a lot. It's a solid name. Know a lot of solid Bens, right? Anyway, so Ben's in this math class, and it's on Zoom. And the way that the class worked, right, was the professor wasn't really super attentive in the class. It was kind of like a lecture style in a sense. So the way it would work was everyone would log into Zoom, and so would the professor. But what the professor would do was he would stand up at the front of the classroom, and he'd have a camera kind of projecting on him, and he would do like stuff on the board. So he wouldn't really be able to take questions easily. The way the questions worked would be he would do his lecture, and then every kind of like break that made sense, like for example, if they were changing topics or when he was done with whatever, he would check, his Zoom messages on like an additional laptop that he had up there. But the main kind of camera that was pointing on him was pretty far away. So basically, right, you could kind of get away with like making noise or whatever, and no one really would have, the professor at least, would have not known. However, everyone else in the Zoom class was on it like a normal Zoom class. So if you said something, everyone else but the professor could hear it, basically. There's this girl in Ben's math class, and let's call her Sarah. Yeah, let's call her Sarah, right? So Sarah's in Ben's math class. And you don't really need to know a lot of like backstory about Sarah. It's not really necessary, but she's about to become a main character really quick, and for all the wrong reasons. Anyways, right, so, most of the time when people logged into this math class, they turned their camera off, they turned their mic off. It was almost automatic in a sense. And yeah, they just kind of sat there. It was a lecture class. So, the thing is, lecture classes in general, people get distracted pretty easily, but especially over on Zoom, and especially with your camera and your mic off. Let's just say this was kind of a tough class to focus in general. So people were probably on their phones or whatever. But, everyone always had their mic muted. So one day, right, Ben's in his bed, just joins the Zoom class. He joins it. He's waiting for other people to join. He's looking around at, the bunch of screens of, names of his classmates with their cameras off and their mic muted. And then he sees his classmate, Sarah. Good old Sarah, right? So Sarah joins, and, her mic is muted at first. But then all of a sudden, her mic is unmuted. And, since Ben is just kind of looking at the Zoom class, right, kind of just blankly staring at it, he notices this, and he's like, oh, I guess Sarah's about to say something. Like, okay, this is interesting. It's not like the professor will be able to hear her since he's in the front of the class teaching the class, right? But yeah, maybe she's about to say something. Maybe she's about to, I don't know, explain that she won the lottery and that we all are losers and that she'll never see us again. I don't know, man. I don't know what she's about to say. But no, she doesn't say anything, right? She just kind of, her mic is just on. And Ben is like, oh, let's hope that's not a mistake, because I know for a fact Sarah is not being extra attentive and just, 100%, 1000% focused right now. I know for a fact that's not the case. By the way, make sure you go down and subscribe to the channel and leave a like while you're down there, and you will receive absolutely nothing in return. Just feeling generous. Back to the story. Anyways, right, so this class, it was like an hour and 15 minutes long. It was a longer class, but they only had it like 2 times a week or something. So the class begins, and it's only like 5 minutes in, and the subject matter, it's pretty boring. It's not that engaging. It is what it is, right? But Ben's just kind of sitting there. Ben's, he's on his phone. He's not paying great attention. Guys, do well in school. Please do well in school, right? But he's just sitting there, he's just kind of on his phone looking at something. And then he hears a sigh, like, kind of like, I'm done with this. I'm bored. Like, I don't want to see this anymore type sigh. And yeah, he looks up at his screen, and when someone like talks and they're like their camera's off, and like there's a little like a ring around their name when they talk, when they make a sound, and he looks up, and there's a ring around Sarah's name, and he's like, oh no, dude, like she definitely just somehow like accidentally clicked the unmute, or maybe she was gonna say something, decided not to, and forgot to remute, right? But yeah, so Sarah, her mic is active right now, and she has no idea. And he was like, okay, not a big deal. So after like 5 minutes go by, Ben's just there. He's not really paying great attention, right? But he's sitting there, and, the lecture's going on. The teacher's at the front of the class. He can't hear what's going on, so he didn't hear the sigh, right? Everyone else in the class who has their mics muted and their cameras off, they most likely heard the sigh, but probably just didn't care, right? And then all of a sudden, you start hearing TikTok noises. You start hearing, like, the sounds of someone going through their TikTok feed. And yeah, Ben looks up because, like, he thought maybe, like, I don't know, his sister was, like, walking by the room and she was on TikTok or something. But no, right? He looks up, and yeah, it is, once again, it is Sarah's like, little icon is glowing, meaning that volume or noise or sound, or I don't even know, right, is coming from her computer. So yeah, Sarah's on TikTok apparently, which I think, like, probably a third or half the kids at this point were doing the same, but their mics were muted, so you wouldn't have even known. And yeah, the thing was, like, Ben was like, okay, like, Sarah's definitely got some friends in this class, like, they should text her. So the class had a group chat, which is going to come very, very critical to the story in a second. But right now, it's nothing, right? So the math class had a group chat where basically they would complain about homework. When the quizzes were happening, they would share answers. Guys, don't do that. Don't cheat. Cheating bad. Whatever, right? I said the disclaimer. They would, like, share answers, whatever. They would have study groups. It was like the group chat for the math class. So, right, so Ben could have gone in that group chat and said, hey, Sarah, your mic is not muted, right? But he just didn't think at that point it was that big of a deal. She was on TikTok, like, whatever. The professor literally couldn't hear anything. It's not a big deal, man. And he also doesn't know Sarah that well, so he just didn't want to be that guy. And he's like, you know what? If it's actually a big problem, Sarah has two very close friends in this class. They would have definitely texted her by now. Like, if they actually thought it was an issue. And, maybe they will text her. It's just not my place, man. It's not my place. So much could have been avoided. So much of the following story could have been avoided if someone just said something earlier. But, yeah, they didn't. And they all were about to pay the price. What can I say? So all of a sudden, right, because Ben's like, he's not paying attention to the math class at this point. He's not paying attention to that. But, all of a sudden, right, he hears a door open, and he's like, his instinct is to turn around. So he's like, his head whips around, his door is closed. So he looks forward again, and he realizes that the audio is coming from Sarah's, like, computer again. So he hears a door open. Then he hears a kind of a thud, which turns out to be, because he kind of realized this later on, it turns out that the thud was Sarah's phone hitting the bed, which is going to become a very integral part of the story in just a second, right? And then all of a sudden you hear, hey, and everyone's like, oh no, dude. So at this time, Sarah had a boyfriend. Let's call him Chad. That's the typical boyfriend name I gave, right? So Chad and Sarah had been dating. Chad goes to the school as well. He actually probably was in a class at that point, but he probably just, like, was in the same situation. He just attended the class per se, which means he just, joined the class and then literally just drove over to Sarah's house, which, wasn't that far. They all went to their local high school. So at first Ben was like, oh, lol, haha, like, whatever, right? But then he kind of realized that Sarah didn't realize that her mic was not muted. And Sarah's boyfriend just entered her room. She thinks that she's completely, like, no mic, no sound, no video, no nothing, right? And her boyfriend joins the room assuming the same. And he's like, oh, wait, this could go pretty bad. This could go pretty bad, and let me just say, it got pretty bad. The secret phrase of today's video is Zoom. So yeah, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment Zoom in the comment section down below. I just like to see how many people made it this far into the video, as I do appreciate the beautiful, beautiful watch time. So sweet and delicious. Give me more watch time. Let's go. Anyways, no, but I will try and heart as many of these as I can. But just things have been going really well on the channel recently, and I also, trying to have a life too. So I can't heart every comment, and I'm sorry if I don't get to yours. I'll do my best to do it. I really do spend a lot. I spend, like, at least an hour or two per day just, like, hearting comments and stuff. But I can't get to them all. I'll do my best, though. Anyways, back to the story. So right at this point, the subscriber's like, okay. He goes to the group chat, and he's like, oh, I don't want to be the guy who says anything. Like, that's so awkward. Like, ooh, but someone eventually has to say something. So he has, like, the group chat open on his phone. And then, right, oh boy, right, he hears the boyfriend say something, and the boyfriend goes like this. He's like, Sarah, you look so beautiful today. And he's like, oh, cringe. Like, no, I'm not doing, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that today, bro. No, 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 no. So then he's about to go. He's in the group chat, right? And he's about to say something. He's like, you know what? It's gonna be cringe if I do it, but the cringe is gonna be 10 times worse, right? 10 times worse if I don't say anything. Goes to the group chat, and there's already 2 messages there from 2 of his classmates. One of them saying, "Hey, Sarah, like your mic isn't muted." The other one saying, "Yo, Sarah, mute your mic real quick. Like you're not muted." And yeah, she doesn't mute her mic, and Ben's like, "Dude, what? Like, is she ignoring that? Like, does she want us to hear?" And then he comes to a realization because more and more messages start to flood in, right? He comes to a realization that he doesn't like very much. He comes to the realization that Sarah isn't on her phone right now. That thud he heard earlier, which he didn't really know what it was, but he did remember hearing a thud, was probably her phone dropping on her bed face down. Yeah, so they had no way to communicate to her. At this point, he's sitting there just looking at the group chat, looking up at Sarah's like not muted mic, right? And kind of like the glowing thing around her. And then and he's just looking at the group chat and they're like, dude, Sarah, why isn't your mic muted? Like, oh, come on, dude. Like, and then there's like more messages and more messages. Oh, and then I don't know how to say this. Ben's sitting there. Good old Ben, right? Good guy. Doesn't deserve this. He's sitting there. Right? And then he hears these words being emanated from Sarah's screen. These words are from the boyfriend, Chad. And everyone kind of has a sense of Chad as like the big like football tough guy, right? But they hear this from him. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to quit stalling. I'm just going to say it. Ben hears the words emanate from Sarah's Zoom microphone, whatever, don't care. Have you been a bad kid? Ben is in stage 7 shock at this point. He's just like, his central nervous system is about to shut down after hearing that, right? In the group chat, it doesn't say anything for a second. Like 15 seconds of like delay, right? Because people are processing. And then it's like this spam. There's like 10 messages. It's like, yo, Sarah, lol, like LMAO, like, yo, turn that off, please. But people are starting to like come to the realization. Someone then says, dude, she must not be on her phone. Dude, she must not be seeing this, dude. And they're just like, no, Sarah, please. Maybe if we spam it enough, she'll notice. Maybe her phone will vibrate. Like, everyone's just typing like, Sarah, turn your mic off. Sarah, please. Yeah, and at this point, Ben's like, oh my God. And the whole chat's like, Sarah, I don't know what we did to you, but we're sorry. Like, we don't want to witness this. And then you hear Sarah's microphone once again light up, and it's Sarah this time, and she's like, I don't know, Dad. And they're like, at this point, the whole chat's like, because at this point, right, like Sarah and her like whatever big Chad boyfriend, muscle man, big guy, popular, whatever, they're having like Discord kitten roleplay. Ben just is like, I'm done, man. I don't know what to do anymore. The teacher, right, is at the front of the class teaching like, I don't know, like trigonometry, and he doesn't have any idea what's going on. He has no idea what's going on right now. And the whole class continues, right? They continue to spam the group chat. But it's to no use. Because the boyfriend then says, kitten. Okay. Give me a sec. I have to get myself together, right? He goes, can you make me feel good? At this point, Ben is 1 second away from speed dialing Elon Musk to take him up to Mars with them. Just get him out of this planet. Maybe even like, no, Elon, Mars is not far away. It's not far away enough, right? We got to go to a different universe. We got to blast past this entire universe. It's been infected. We just can't do this anymore, man. We just can't do this anymore. Get me out of here. In the class, what can the class do, man? I mean, at this point, like, people are, like, her two friends who have her, like, contact, typed in chat saying, we've been texting and spam calling her for the last, like, 5 minutes. I don't think she has her phone, right? I don't think she has her phone up, right? And, right, so they're texting, they're like, keep going. And they're just like, guys, we have to stop this somehow. So at one point, I think one of the friends calls the house phone, but that's no good. I think her parents were out or something. Like, they really went above and beyond. And then someone said, do you think it's worth it for me to like leave this class and to drive over to her house to get her to stop? And yes, one of her friends was literally about to leave the class and drive to her house just to make the whole thing stop. But thankfully, right, through all this commotion, through all the pain, the agony, the misery, Ben is like, he hears something else come from Sarah's microphone. And for once, right, it's not more cringe. It is, he hears kind of like something being lifted up, and then, oh my God, and then he saw the greatest thing. He saw the greatest thing he could ever see. He saw the little microphone next to Sarah's name, mute. And the whole group chat is like, let's go. Subscribe if you haven't already. Then go watch another story video, or I don't know, I'll hate you forever or something. Bye.